of the Committee on Accountability, Finance, and Personnel of the Board of School Directors will please come to order. Will the Secretary please call the roll?
Director Herndon.
Present.
Director Jackson.
Present.
Director Reza.
Present.
Director Zomber.
Present.
And Chair O'Halloran.
Here.
That's 5 present. We have a quorum.
The Chair will now ask the Secretary to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. The Chair invites any members of the audience who wish to participate to do so and asks that those who do not wish to participate please remain silent during the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting is being conducted from the Central Services Building. This meeting is also broadcast on the MPS YouTube stream, the link to which may be found on the MPS website on the upcoming meetings page. This evening's agenda items and attachments may also be found online on the upcoming meetings page of the MPS website. Before we begin tonight's meeting, we have a short announcement regarding interpretation services for the Spanish-speaking members of our audience.
Buenas tardes y bienvenidos a la Junta Escolar de las Escuelas Públicas de Milwaukee. Si deseas escuchar esta reunión en español, por favor llame al número 312-626-6799. Otra vez el número es 312-626-6799. Introduzca el número de reunión 608-130-5362. Nuevamente, el número de reunión es 608-130-5362. Gracias.
Thank you. For each of our items of business, we will hold a discussion and public hearing. If you wish to speak, please fill out a speaker slip and bring it to our Secretary, Dr. Owen Moore. We have no virtual speakers registered for tonight's meeting. For the sake of fairness tonight and to give everyone a chance to speak, the Chair reserves the right to limit the length of time allowed to any one speaker. Disruptive or disrespectful behavior will not be permitted. If it occurs, the meeting may be paused and those involved may be asked to step out so we can continue in a safe and productive manner. Thank you for helping us ensure a positive experience for everyone. And now, given that our focus this year is literacy, we have some help with our messages from one of our young readers. Kingsley is a 7th grader at Cooper School. We're going to just see if we can back it up and make sure that it's a little louder so everyone can benefit from hearing young Kingsley.
Please state your name and spell your last name for the record. Like this. Tanya Jacobs, Jacobs. Written testimony will also be accepted for transmittal to the board. Send this testimony to the Office of Board Governance, P.O. Box 2181, Milwaukee, Wisconsin 53201-2181. Or email it to governance@milwaukeek12wisconsin.us. Just as a reminder, Robert's Rules of Order dictates that all comments, questions, or requests should be directed to the chair who will determine the most efficient way to address them. Also, no one other than members of the board, designated staff, or those who have been invited to present or participate in items of business will be allowed on stage before, during, or after meetings of the board and its committees.
Thank you, Kingsley. Just to reiterate for the first paragraph that might have been missed, this committee will accept public comments on tonight's agenda items. Speakers may only address the item for which they have registered. Questions from the public may not be answered during the public comment period. Following public comment, the committee will begin its discussion and no additional comments will be accepted. Thank you, Kingsley, for being tonight's reader. If you have a child that would like to read for the board meeting, please send a message to governance@milwaukee.k12.wi.us. And Madam Secretary, before we move on, I did want to note, we took the roll of the board members, but I did also want to note that we have 2 representatives from our student body here tonight. Luna Matos, and Mateo de la Cruz. And so as we move through the agenda items, they can chime in with questions and comments as the board does as well. So, with all that being said, now let's begin. There are several items that come each month as routine matters under a consent agenda. We will have one public comment period on consent agenda matters. After the public comment period, if board members wish to ask questions or comment on specific items, they may set those items aside for separate discussion by the board. No additional public comments will be accepted after the initial comment period. Any items that are not set aside will be approved with one motion. We will not have formal presentations on consent agenda items. Madam Secretary, do any members of the public wish to comment on this evening's consent agenda items?
We do not have speaker slips on those items.
Thank you. Are there any items on the consent agenda that board members would wish to set aside? I see no hands. So that being said, may I please have a motion to approve the balance of the consent agenda items? Director Zambor.
I move to approve the balance of the consent agenda items.
Thank you. Will the secretary please call the roll?
On Director Zomber's motion to approve the balance of the items on the consent agenda, Director Herndon.
Aye.
Director Jackson.
Aye.
Director Reza.
Aye.
Director Zomber.
Aye.
And Chair O'Halloran.
Aye.
That's 5 ayes. The motion passes.
Thank you. Before we move on, the chair would like to congratulate all the candidates recommended for appointment, promotion, or transfer. We celebrate this important step in your career journey and appreciate your commitment to serving Milwaukee Public Schools, our students, our staff, and our community. Okay, so, Madam Secretary, before we proceed with the items for separate consideration, if there are no objections, I would like to take item 8 first, since we have student presenters. Just looking around, does anybody have any objections? I see no hands, so we're just going to switch it up a little here. So, Madam Chair, Madam Secretary, would you please call item 8?
Madam Chair, item 8 is report on vendors' compliance with contract requirements for historically underutilized business, HUB, Communities in Need, COIN, and Student Engagement Program. This is an informational item and no action is required.
Thank you. Would the Office of Accountability and Efficiency please present the item?
Thank you, Chair O'Halloran. Matt Chason, Office of Accountability and Efficiency. Within the OAE is a small but mighty department, Contract Compliance Services. And it's this department led by Ms. Jaquina Cohen, who's the manager overseeing the area that is charged with administering what the board has authored as its commitment to 3 specific things, making sure that historically underutilized businesses in our community are afforded the opportunity to participate in the business of the district. Additionally, through the COIN program, we make sure that those in our community who are unemployed or underemployed get to participate in employment opportunities within the district. And then finally, given the mission of the organization, this is how we satisfy the board's commitment to making sure that students have career engagement and employment opportunities as well. So tonight, Ms. Cohen's going to lead you through the historical performance of the last fiscal year with respect to how we set and monitor these requirements. And then we're going to have the treat, the students who, some of whom participate in the program, will be sharing out their experiences as well. So happy to get this thing started. Ms. Cohen, if you can take it away.
Thank you, Matt. Good evening, Chair O'Halloran and members of the committee, and thank you for the opportunity to present this evening. My name is Jaquina Cohen, Manager of Contract Compliance Services. Next slide, please. Today, I'll be sharing an overview of our fiscal 25 performance, including our progress in historically underutilized business participation, communities in need, workforce engagement, and student engagement initiatives. Our work is grounded in Board Policies 3.09, 3.10, and 3.13, with a focus on advancing equity, strengthening vendor accountability, and expanding meaningful opportunities for our students. Next slide, please. Contract Compliance Services plays a critical role in ensuring that vendors not only meet contractual obligations, but also contribute to broader district goals. We integrate compliance requirements into contracts over $50K, partnering closely with procurement and facilities and maintenance, and monitoring performance in real time through our contract compliance reporting system. In addition, we focus on building vendor capacity, especially among small and diverse businesses, through outreach, education, and ongoing support. Next slide, please. Under Policy 3.10, the HUB program promotes equitable participation by businesses owned by underrepresented groups. While MPS is not a HUB certification agency, we accept multiple certifications from local and national agencies. The next slide provides a list of HUB certifications the district recognizes. Okay, next slide, please. In fiscal 25, CCS monitored 173 contracts across construction, goods and services, and professional services. The district's annual target is 25% HUB participation. In fiscal 25, we achieved 13%. While this reflects a decrease from prior years, it is important to note that there are multiple factors considered when assigning a HUB participation requirement. The most important is market availability. We ensure market availability and scope of service align. One additional factor contributing to the decrease is largely due to completion of general construction ESSER-funded projects between fiscal years 22 and 24. This resulted in a reduction in overall contract value, not a decline in compliance practices or oversight. CCS remains committed to actively seeking opportunities to engage small, diverse businesses through participation in the district's quarterly vendor information sessions, Marketplace, the Governor's Conference on Diverse Business Development, and continued partnerships with our intergovernmental agencies. Next slide, please. The next slide provides a snapshot of participation by contract category for fiscal 25. Next slide, please. This slide provides a year-over-year view of HUB participation from fiscal years 22 through 25. Next is our Communities in Need initiative, which is the district's workforce preference program on facilities and maintenance general construction projects. Next slide. In fiscal 25, 30 participants received COIN certifications. The certifications are valid for 3 years and provide these individuals with the opportunity to work directly on MPS construction projects. This slide provides a snapshot of completed project workforce hours on general construction projects where COIN is assigned. In addition to workforce participation, we also focus on student-centered outcomes. I am excited to present the impact our contract compliance assignments have had on the district's student engagement program. Our assignments are intentionally structured and twofold, requiring vendors to meet either employment hour opportunities, educational hour requirements, or a combination of both through district contracts. I would like to note that in fiscal 23, our contracting opportunities afforded the district to pay out close to $1 million in student wages. Again, this was due to an increase in ESSER construction projects. Our work included the creation of additional internship opportunities for MPS high school students. This expansion reflects our strategic commitment, not only requiring student engagement externally through vendors, but to model it internally within our own operations. The goal is to create sustainable, meaningful internships that build student agency, strengthen professional competence, and provide a direct pathway into ready and available workforce. These internships are intentionally designed to move students beyond observation and into active contribution, where they gain exposure to professional environments, learn workplace expectations, strengthen communication and time management skills, and build confidence through real-world applications. By embedding students into active projects, we are helping them see themselves as professionals, not in the future, but now. Next slide, please. Next, I will cover the highlights of the second component of student engagement, which is career education. Career education allows contractors and vendors the opportunity to engage MPS students at any grade level, providing awareness of their career industry or simply participating within district-hosted events designed with student development in mind. Our office assigned career education requirements to contracts totaling over 2,000 hours in fiscal 22 and over 1,800 hours in fiscal 25. We continue to partner with district departments seeking support of our students. Finally, here are a few highlights from fiscal 25 student engagement. Developing our students and getting them ready for the workforce is a collaborative effort. This slide highlights the student employment work we were able to accomplish with the help of some partners. We would like to give a special thank you to district departments, career and technical education, finance, technology, the School to Work Transition Program, high school student staff, and MPS contractors and vendors that have partnered with CCS year after year by mentoring and hosting students. Next slide. This slide highlights the collaborative efforts regarding career education. Next slide. The slide in front of you provides testimonial of student participants in our program that were unable to attend tonight's committee meeting. Everything we do is grounded in being student-centered. While we're proud of the momentum we've built, we are equally committed to continuous improvement. Looking ahead, one of our key goals is to expand internal internship opportunities across every high school, ensuring all students have access to meaningful real-world work experiences. We are also working to revise Policy 3.13, the Communities in Need Initiative, to strengthen and formalize employment pathways for MPS high school students, particularly those interested in the skilled trades. In addition, we're excited to launch our Student Engagement Hub within the OAE suite, which will serve as a centralized space to support and grow these efforts. And finally, we would like to extend an invitation to the board members to come out, meet our students, and see firsthand the incredible work that they're doing across the district. This concludes our presentation. And at this time, I would like to give some of our student participants an opportunity to provide testimonials on their experience within the Student Engagement Program. I am happy to answer any questions you may have after the testimonials.
Thank you. And now we'll welcome the students to the mic.
Hello, my name is DeAndre Shelton. I am 16 years old. I go to Bayview High School. I'm a junior there. I'm currently interning under the Student Employment Program. I've been working at SSNC, Silver Spring Neighborhood Center, for a year now, and my experience there has been very lovely. Every day I go, I get a chance to communicate with my community, and I love that. I feel like that has built my character and how I should go about the real world, because I walk out and I see new people every day. The community events that we have, I really do enjoy, because I mostly get to hold them and talk to the people, which I really love. I will also say this job that I have is like a job that gets you ready for like bigger jobs. They offer so many career choices, so many field trips for other internships or scholarships opportunities. And I really love I'm very grateful for my work experience working with my employers and my coworkers. And yes, that is my testimony.
Thank you. Love to see the Red Cats represented, Bayview High School.
Yes, Red Cats.
Hello. Hello, my name is Evelyn. I attended South Division High School. I am currently interning through the Student Employment Program with Contract Compliance Services. During my internship, I have had the opportunity to work in a professional environment and take on a variety of responsibilities. I assist with organizing important documents and data entry to help keep things running smoothly. I also step in to help in different departments beyond contract compliance when needed, like assisting the School to Work program, specialized services, and technology. These experiences have helped me become more adaptable and dependable in the workplace. This internship has helped me grow by improving my communication skills and teaching me how to work effectively with others. One thing that stood out to me was how working together as a team helped us complete tasks more efficiently. I also learned to accept constructive feedback to improve my work, which has helped me build my confidence and continue growing. Overall, this opportunity has helped me better understand teamwork, professionalism, and what it takes to succeed in a work environment. It has also given me a better idea of the kind of work I want to pursue in my future, like wanting to work within MPS. I am grateful for the opportunity to be part of the Student Employment Program, and I appreciate the ongoing support from Contract Compliance Services, Office of Accountability and Efficiency, and MPS. Thank you for allowing me to share my experience today.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Zandria. I'm also 16. I'm a junior at Milwaukee School of Languages. I also internship at Silver Spring Neighborhood Center. It's a place that I've been attending for well over 5 years. I just started the MPS workforce program about a year and a half ago. My work experience at Silver Spring has been nothing but positive. Like, I have no complaints. It's always been a community-based place. My main focus there is like working and assisting with fashion classes. That's just always been what I was interested in. MPS has been nothing but supportive in this experience. It helps us with real-world experience. We get put in a lot of situations that might be deemed uncomfortable, but it teaches us a lot of things that we wouldn't be taught otherwise. They don't expect us to be comfortable all the time, but they put us in situations that can actually happen in real life. Working with Silver Spring, I felt prepared for a lot of things that people my age aren't prepared for. I get to like interact. I've made a lot of positive connections, like friends with a lot of people in higher places that have definitely gotten me through a lot of doors. Yeah, it's been nothing but positive. So thank you for having me here to share my experience.
Thank you so much. Can we have a round of applause for our fantastic students, please? I see that Mr. Matt Chasen has his hand up. Mr. Matt Chasen?
Thank you, Chair. I'm wondering if the Chair could maybe recognize Mr. De La Cruz, who has also been a participant in our program.
Mr. De La Cruz is, he's pulling double duty tonight, so he's going to take off his student representative hat and put on his other hat. Would you like to provide any comments about your experiences?
Yes, I would. Thank you. My name is Mateo De La Cruz, as most of you know, and I have been working here at Central Office since my summer year of freshman year, and since then, I have gotten to learn a lot about technology, which is the department I work in, and I got to see real-world examples of the career that I was interested in, and it helped give me a lot of the skills that I now am using now, even on this board, and it gave me a lot of insight on MPS, which helped me be a better member to help advocate for student needs with how I've been able to learn what's possible and what's feasible in our district versus what the student goal is. And I am really happy to have been given this experience by Contract Compliance Services, and I hope that more students can enjoy this and hopefully will apply this summer for more summer jobs, and maybe someone will even get mine after I graduate, hopefully.
Thank you so much, Mr. De La Cruz. Now we should do another round of applause, I think. I'm going to take a personal point of privilege. And it just, like maybe it's the mom in me, I don't know. I started tearing up listening to your, experiences. The level of professionalism that you're all displaying here is just a testament both to the great education that you can get in MPS, but also the great opportunities that, are afforded through this program. And I really want to thank the Office of Accountability and Efficiency for your care for our students and putting them in really great situations where they're afforded these opportunities. So thank you. Do you have any concluding remarks, or should I ask my colleagues if we have comments or questions? Okay. Do my colleagues have any comments or questions? You don't have to. Okay, I'll start with Director Zambor.
Thank you, Chair O'Halloran. First of all, Representative De La Cruz, next time we're having technology problems up here, we might just
we now know who to go
to when the microphones aren't working. But I did have a question either for Ms. Cohen or the students. If you could, actually, I guess I have two questions. One, I was just wondering, how do most students find out about the opportunities? Maybe if each student, like if you just remember your experience, how you found out about the opportunity at your school. And then what is transportation like? Are there any barriers for transportation, or how is that handled for different students? Whoever wants
Well,
to.
we can, maybe we can go down the line. So do we want to start with Ms. Cohen?
Sure, Director O'Halloran, and members of the committee. The way in which we recruit students within our program, it's multiple ways. So we sit on the Career Champion meetings every month. We also created an internal list of counselors, high school counselors, principals, and we work with community-based organizations, and what we do is we'll send out what we call email blasts and say, hey, these opportunities are available, you know, for students. We can support up to 300 students within our program, and so it's on a first-come, first-served basis. We need to have more visibility on the website. So now that the website is being rebuilt, we'll have more visibility there. But wherever someone will welcome us internally or externally, we'll come and say, hey, let them know we have these opportunities. I always often joke with Chief Chasen, I love this program so much, I want to stand on the corner like, internships available. But yeah, we pretty much, our internal partners help us a lot because we're not in the schools, provide the advocacy for our program. Thank you.
And then if people feel comfortable jumping in, how you found out about it. So we can go down the line if you remember, Mr. DeAndre.
So it was a Boys and Girls Club because I remember I grew up in the neighborhood of my job. So I was going to the Boys and Girls Club there around the time, me and Zan, for 4 to 5 years. We weren't old enough to work there. I think we started off at like 13. We were very little, 15. 15 is when we got the opportunity to work there. And transportation has been like fairly easy. My parents don't mind me driving there. Yeah, that's how I found out about it. It wasn't like a school situation. I just got lucky enough to where I kept this relationship with my mentors, and they was like, hey, if you want a job here, you got it. And I'm like, yes, please.
We love to hear that. Love to hear that people are speaking about it outside, you know, saying good things about us outside the rooms as well. Evelyn, did you recall how you found out?
I'm not quite sure I remember, but
Okay.
I think it was in school. I saw flyers. My school was always putting up flyers, so I was like, okay, I'll do it. It was a great summer opportunity, and I learned so much from this program.
Okay, cool, thanks. Sandria?
Okay. I think for me, it was also like just being a participant of Silver Spring Neighborhood Center. It's like I had been there for so long, I was offered the job. And a good thing about Silver Spring is it is in a community where there are a lot of teenagers, so I know a lot of them, it is walking distance for them. Unfortunately, I don't live over there. But after getting the job, I do now see like MPS internship opportunity flyers everywhere. So
Now that you know what it is, it's like, yeah. And Mateo?
So I found out about this program when I was looking for a job in the summer, and one of my guidance counselors actually posted like the job sheet of all of the jobs that MPS and their partners had at the time. And I was looking for one in technology because that was what I was interested in, and I was able to find it, and I was able to apply for that, and it was pretty easy. But for transportation, that was less as easy because I couldn't drive at the time, so I had to take the bus, but my parents helped me out, and they're actually in the audience right now, so I'd like to thank them. But yeah, transportation was somewhat of an issue because I had a bus, and I live all the way down near the airport-ish, so it was a pretty big transportation thing, but I would say it's so worth it because of the valuable experience I got.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
I just want to add one thing, Director O'Halloran, members of the committee, I apologize. We do try our best to make sure that all the internships are on a bus line. And over the past 3 years, we've been creating more of those internal internships within the high schools so that the students don't have the transportation barrier.
Thank you. Did you have any follow-up, Director Zambor? Okay, I did see Director Jackson's hand. Do you have any questions or comments?
Yeah, just a few comments. First off, I laughed only because you said when you was 13 you were little, and now that you're 16.
We're old, sorry.
Right, you know, I remember the comment when we were younger.
It's not a reflection of you.
That's all. People would say, I have shoes older than you, so now I understand that logic. But to the parents first and to the friends, thank y'all for supporting them. A lot of times we don't have that growing up, so thank y'all as well, because I knew it was a lot of sweat and grind to get them to where they are. So I'm glad that y'all have a strong support system for that. And Matt and your team as well, Ms. Cohen, even putting together something like this, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't expect this to come from your office. I didn't. If anything, I thought it probably would have came from, you know, apprenticeships and things like that, but not to say anything less of you, but thank you for doing so. I knew before I got elected on the board at the time, the company I was with, we had a hard time just getting certified with the hub, even though we were SBE, DBE, and these other acronyms as well with, you know, small business enterprise and disadvantaged business enterprises. So it's great to see that right now they're learning that process and truly taking it all in. And know that the acronyms I just listed too, they're not far from you as well, you know. But just to know right now, you're setting a goal, you know what you have in mind to do in this space. I love it, and I'm glad that MPSs have this to offer to you and to others right now. So today, to me, it's like a huge milestone for us under your leadership as well. So thank you for creating that, Matt.
Thank you. I see Ms. Matos. Do you have a question or comment?
Both, actually.
Okay.
It's on, right? Okay. Yep. Okay. I just want to say what you guys are doing is very commendable. It's amazing. And looking at all the recognized certifications that you guys are working with and these opportunities, it's very amazing. And I hope you guys keep this up because this is amazing opportunities for students to engage in. And obviously, it has had an impact on them, which is what we always want to see. But I do have 2 questions. So with the publicity of this, like advertising and things like that, I know you mentioned the website and things like that, and somewhere on here there are schools listed. But have you guys went to the schools and kind of like had like a demonstration, like had some of these businesses like the LGBTQ plus business enterprise or the minority business enterprises come in and kind of like demonstrate what the internship is about in a sense, so students can get more of a feeling of what they're about to get into and they know more about it? Because I feel like a flyer is so very vague in a sense, so not a lot of students can get the full picture of what they may want or what they're signing up for through a flyer. So if you guys do any demonstrations at these schools and like how they go and things like that. And then with transportation, you did say, please correct me if I'm wrong, that you guys try to have it on the bus lines, which is amazing. But do you guys provide bus passes for these students, or they have to find a way to get that themselves?
Thank you. Office of Accountability and Efficiency, would you have a response for our 2 extremely good questions? Thank you for those.
Absolutely. Director O'Halloran and members of the committee, as far as the advocacy or the recruitment, prior to COVID, we had more opportunities to go in the schools. We would do what we call job readiness training. So we would have students who were interested come in on a banking day, and we'd have this whole day celebration, a whole day workplace etiquette event for them. More recently, after COVID, we do go into the schools that invite us in. So we'll go in and do what we call mini work sessions. We try to partner with CTE with those work sessions because we don't want to, step on anybody's toes. We're all in partnership. So we partner with CTE for those sessions. We participate in the junior and senior job fairs. So the junior job fair is coming up tomorrow. So we'll have a table there. And then, I'm sorry, can you tell me what your second question was again?
The second question was about transportation. So it's great that they're on the bus line, but are bus passes or other things provided to ensure they can use them?
Yes, so at this time, we do not provide bus passes, but that is something that we can look into in the future. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Do you have any follow-ups? Okay. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right. Oh, yep. Director Reza.
For one, I really do appreciate the focus on the student-centered organization as it is opportunities. It's just great to see the students here explaining their experiences and just going beyond, the real world as it is. So I'm really, really happy about that, the progress. One question that I do have, how are we continuing to track the student success over time after, they leave MPS? do we have something like, at least like a feedback or something, regards to that?
Director Director O'Halloran, I apologize. Chair O'Halloran and members of the committee, my apologies. We do track them because they're eligible for our program from freshman year through 1 year until December 31st after they graduate. So we do track them up until that time. A lot of the students will reach back out to us for references and recommendation letters for opportunities out in the real world. So that's how we're typically able to keep track of them. Our office is working to create an updated database where we can track students 2 years, 3 years, 5 years down the line to make sure that they're still successful and to see if there are any resources that we can provide, even though they've gone on into the world and graduated, but any way that we can help, we still want to be able to provide those resources. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have one question. So you, in the presentation or in the comments, you said there were up to 300 students spots, and it was on a first come first serve basis. So we max that out every year, or are we? I'm just wondering if we meet that 300 goal.
Chair O'Halloran, members of the committee, sometimes we max it out, sometimes we don't. Like in fiscal 25, we only provided 212 internships. We could have helped 200 students. So about 35 of those were externals working with external internships, working with external partners, community-based organizations like Silver Spring Neighborhood Center, and then 65% of those internships were internal. The goal is always to max out that 300 if we can. If we have the budget availability to do it, then our goal is to max it out.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yes, hi, Ms. Matos.
I am pretty sure this will be the last question. My last question is, please correct me if I'm wrong. You guys mentioned you guys heavily focus on trades, correct? Within this program, you guys are more focused on trade. Like you guys offer other opportunities, of course, but one of your main focuses is trade. My first question for that is there a reason that that's one of your main focuses? And my second question is what do you guys do to emphasize the trades? Because the trades are something not a lot of people have a lot of knowledge about, in a sense. So how do you guys get students to want to participate in the trades and things like that? And why is it one of your main focuses for this program?
Chair O'Halloran, members of the committee. So one of our programs is centered around, so our Communities in Need program, it was adopted by the board in 2003. So that was the inception of the program. And so that program is actually open to any Milwaukee residents that meet certain criteria that are 18 years or older. When students go through Facilities and Maintenance Youth Apprenticeship Program, we automatically will coin certify them. And so when we go to job fairs and, we're out in the community, we do talk to, 17, 18-year-olds about the skilled trades because that program is focused specifically around that. And we know as older adults that we need more hands-on, we need more individuals that are interested in the skilled trades. What I'd like to do is to revise the policy, because right now the policy focuses on 18 or over, to create a pathway for students that are interested in the skilled trades. And so I'm working closely, data researching to see how we're able to do that, make sure that we're doing it responsibly and within guidelines. And what was your second question? Did I answer both of your questions?
I think it was how you can, if students aren't aware of the opportunities that trades might provide, how do you explain the value of this as a career pathway? Is that kind of Ms. Matos? Oh, I see Ms. Matos' hands. Yep.
I'm going to specify that a little bit more so it's a bit more clear. So I am a full IB student, but unfortunately for my school, we don't provide the IB pathways. However, Reagan does, and part of that is having the medical field pathway, the education pathway. Is one of your goals to make the trades a pathway that students can take if they're in the IB diploma or schools like South Division? I know they have, I think, a nursing class that they can take from junior to senior year to be certified or get their degree as a nurse. So is that one of your goals as well, to kind of implement it within the school's curriculum, or? that we can all just.
Yes, Chair O'Halloran, members of the board. So yes, and with the revision of the policy, yes, we'd like to create a pathway. I had reached out to the Department of Workforce Development some time ago to see how we could create that pathway with our COIN program. So I need to follow up with that. Also with the trades, so the student engagement component, we require contractors and vendors to engage our students, right? And so we do have contractors, facilities contractors that will go out to the schools. They get credit for it, and they'll go out to the schools and talk to the students about the trades and the value and benefits of being in the trades and what their salaries could be like. So we need to do a better job of centering more on the trades, and that's one of the long-term goals for the department.
I did see Dr. Casalias. I'm sorry it looks like you were looking down at some notes, but I did see your hand. So do you have a question or comment?
Yes, thank you, Chair O'Halloran, members. I was just going to ask how you worked with our academic office and also just on the transportation pieces and getting kids access. I'd love to work with you on that as well. So just any ways, I think, I don't have to take up time here for that, but I think that there's ways that we can work with you to help you increase participation and make it easier on the students as well.
Okay, Chair O'Halloran and members of the committee, Dr. Casalias, that would be wonderful. We're all about partnership, and we're here for our students. The work that we do every day, I love it, and any way in which we can continue to develop and improve our students, I'm a strong advocate, and I'm here for it. Thank you.
Thank you, and thanks to all the students. Amazing testimony.
Yeah. Well, this is my favorite item, so I think we should just wrap up. We're going to call it a night. I'm just kidding. If we have no other questions or comments, this was an informational item. I once again want to extend my thanks to OAE and the students for joining us tonight, and I hope we get you home with enough time to do whatever you need to do to be prepared for tomorrow. Awesome. Okay, so we are back to item 2? Item 1. Thank you. This way we keep Madam Chair, Madam Secretary around to keep me on track.
All right.
Okay, so we are back to the original order of the agenda. Can you please present item 1?
Madam Chair, item 1 is action on monthly finance matters, report on change orders in excess of $25,000, acceptance of the report on revenues and expenditures, report on contracts under $50,000, and cumulative total report, report on monthly grant awards, acceptance of donations. The recommendation is that the board, 1, authorize the purchases, and 2, accept the donations as listed in the attachments with appropriate acknowledgement to be made on behalf of the board.
Thank you. Would the administration please present the item?
Chair O'Halloran, members of the committee, Brenda Casalias, Superintendent. Action on monthly finance matters, an agenda item that the administration brings monthly for board approval under the consent agenda heading. This month, the administration requested this item be placed under items of business for separate consideration to share and explain the incredible work our Office of Finance is addressing to close out contracts and settle encumbrances. You might remember this came up when we were talking about the actual budgets and the working budgets and the large carry forward. And so this is going to give you an update on the level of work around our contracts that we've been doing. And to present this information, I'm joined by Chief Saba and Director Adamczyk. Following the sharing of this information, we're happy to answer any questions.
Good evening, Chair O'Halloran and fellow committee members. Aisha Sava, Chief Financial Officer. So this evening, like Dr. Casalias mentioned, we will be going into a little bit more detail on our contract review and our encumbrance review. I am going to hand it over to Ms. Adamczyk for that, and then I will be discussing some of the new procedures and policies that we'll be implementing going forward.
Chair O'Halloran, members of the committee, Janina Adamczyk, Director of Procurement and Risk Management. On February 13th, Procurement was asked to do a contract review of all contracts that had open encumbrances. And that was a total of 11,662 contracts and purchase orders. We are still going through all of the contracts, but to date, we have closed 1,400 contracts and purchase orders. This has reduced our overall encumbrance by over $80 million. This process will continue through June of this year, and then after that, we will continue to do it on a more regular basis so that we don't have a large encumbrance misleading everyone, and we want open transparency with respect to all of our contracts and purchase orders.
Okay, I think I'll discuss some of the new procedures we'll be implementing. I believe our slides are a little different here. So a couple of the policies that we'll be implementing is that finance will now be reviewing open encumbrances on current contracts and purchase orders every 3 months. So if we notice that a department has not had any payments or purchases made, we will be contacting that department and ensuring that are those payments going to be made? Is the contract going to be maxed out, or do we need to close the contract, and is all the activity completed? One of the other processes that we'll also be starting from procurement is that we will be updating our process to review all purchase orders that are submitted in excess of $2,500. So this will kind of create a little bit more tighter controls on all of our IT purchases, and it will. We are also currently working with our IT department so that we can receive reports so that we can look at all of these purchases, because in the past, I believe they were at $10,000, and then a lot of these like schools and other departments could make smaller purchases that then kind of, $5,000, right, can go up to like $50,000. So we are kind of tightening our controls on that so that we can go further and review those. And then at the same time, as we are implementing these new procedures, we will be doing training with our principals and our directors and chiefs here at Central. So we will be starting that in the spring and summer, and then probably with the principals closer to the start of the new school year. And also at the same time, our bookkeepers, who are technically part of the Office of Finance, they will be the first to review requisitions for accuracy and completeness. And then we will be having training for them too this summer. And then finally, our last two procedures that we will be coming forward as we finish up this analysis, and we will be bringing those back at a later date, is that we have been conducting unit rate analysis. So I think the best analogy to really explain this is, schools contracting with different DJs for like homecoming or prom. Some of Janine's team members have found, we have a very wide array of like, maybe $50 all the way up to like $250, whatever the case may be, and this for all different types of work. So we are looking at kind of coming up with, consistent rates, and then kind of like a preferred, like a vendor list. So then schools, departments can kind of use that consistently so that we're not overcharging. And then at the same time, we would also be issuing RFPs for commonly used services for better pricing and cost savings. So this would, again, kind of be having a menu of services out there so that we can have more consistent rates and be able to find more cost savings that way. So these are a couple of the procedures and processes that we are looking into changing. We have been kind of analyzing some of these with the Council of Great City Schools and kind of what other large urban school districts have been doing. So as we finalize some of these, we will be bringing them back forward, probably in May or something with the procedures all written out and ready to go. So that kind of concludes where we are right now, but we're really excited because we're, really kind of reining in and kind of looking at every single dollar, as, Dr. Caselius has been mentioning. So we are, taking it very seriously, and all of the procurement team, risk management team, we've been looking into a lot of these and looking at best practices on how we can move forward. But we'd be happy to take any questions if you have them.
Thank you. Do any members of the public wish to make comments?
We have no speaker slips.
Okay, do committee members wish to make comments or ask questions? Director Jackson.
Well, first off, thank you especially for the contract reviewing piece. I know that's something myself and I've mentioned to Matt a little while back, a process and something we need to do. So glad to see that it's now happening. I think also, too, one piece to add when it comes to construction, one of the biggest costs that most don't consider who's not in that space is the change order process, because that can become a hefty price tag as you start a job and now something else comes into play and so many other factors. But again, thanks for the oversight and understanding and seeing that. In addition to my question, is there a way or even possible that we can possibly add something that's called an outcome-based contract, dealing with the work itself, and they'll receive payment based off of what the job that they've, currently doing, and, just another way of oversight to make sure we actually getting what we're paying for.
Administration?
Chair O'Halloran, Director Jackson, members of the committee, Janina Domchik, Director of Procurement and Risk Management. We will go ahead and research that, and we will get back to you, Director Jackson, whether or not that is feasible with respect to the rules and procedures that we have with respect to the district.
Yeah.
But until we research it,
Gotcha.
I'm happy to see what we can do for you.
Gotcha.
Do you have any follow-up, Director Jackson?
That's all.
Okay. Any other committee members? Director Zambor?
Thank you, Chair O'Halloran. Maybe for our listening audience and the student representatives, could you explain a little bit more about what an encumbrance is, so that, because I realize as we're looking at this, it looks like we reduced our encumbrances by 80 million. I don't want people to think that all of a sudden we just got 80 million in revenue. Someone might be watching this, and so if we could just maybe explain that a little bit to make it really clear what that means when we say reduced encumbrances by 80 million.
Administration?
Chair O'Halloran, Director Zomber, members of the committee, Janina Domchik, Director of Procurement and Risk Management. In encumbrance, what happens is when we issue a contract, and say we issue a contract for $100,000 for services, we commit basically to spending up to $100,000 with that vendor. When the services are complete, if we have money left over, say $100,000 contract, we said we would not exceed $100,000, and we get all of the services for $75,000. That means there's still $25,000 technically remaining on that contract. If we do not close the contract to release what we call that commitment, those monies will stay and show as an encumbrance. That is our responsibility potentially to, owe that to someday. Therefore, what we've been doing is we have been going back and reviewing all of the contracts to ensure that the services were complete and that we can release any funds that were still technically attached to that contract. That doesn't mean that we now have $25,000 in our bank account, which although that would be really fabulous if it did mean that, but unfortunately that's not the case. But it reduces what the potential liability for the district would be moving forward.
Do you have follow-up, Director Zambor?
That was helpful, thank you. Oh, Dr. Caselli.
Dr. Caselli, yes.
Chair O'Halloran and Director Zambor and members, I wonder if Ms. Sava or even Mr. Chasen could speak a little bit about the working budget and the carry forward and just how that works with what Janine just explained in terms of authority to spend in your budget, and how this will help eliminate risk in the organization. It doesn't actually capture more dollars for us right now, but what it does do is avoid risk. So I wonder if Mr. Chasen, you might speak to that.
Thank you, Chair O'Halloran, Matt Chasen, Office of Accountability and Efficiency. So board policy currently with respect to this topic affords the administration the opportunity to carry forward budget authority for committed dollars. So just like Janine, or Mr. Domchik had offered up, there are commitments we make to vendors. These could be unfilled purchase orders, contract services that have not yet been rendered, And at such time that we complete the fiscal year, the commitment to pay for those services or those goods carries forward. And then so that when the expense hits in the next period, the budget authority exists for it. Now, what I believe Dr. Casillas' point is that what should also then follow with that budget authority is the fund availability. And this is where we had clear visibility at the end of FY25. With respect to Fund 10, we did not have funds available. We ended FY25 in roughly a $46 million deficit. So with respect to budget authority that carried forward, we don't have the funds availability for that budget authority. And to Dr. Casillas' point, this is how we bring visibility to the risk that presents presently to the board. So there's policy considerations that can be considered about raising the visibility of those things. There are business practices that can be modified. I believe there's members of the Council of Great City Schools that have offered up in spaces that I've been in where they either ensure that these encumbrances are in fact closed out, which eliminates the opportunity for this type of risk going forward. There's reporting mechanisms to the board that can raise the visibility as well. A couple of different paths around the mountain, all of them designed to reduce the risk associated with these open encumbrances over time.
Dr. Casillas?
Chair O'Halloran, and just one other item too is just the multi-year contracts that we have and putting in place the controls for that and making sure we're accounting for the encumbrances in the correct year. We have multiple large contracts, food, nutrition, transportation over multiple years. It doesn't make sense to expend that all in the first year, carry it forward rather than just acknowledge in your budget that you're going to have this amount of money that you're going to have to spend each year as you begin to do your forecasting and your understanding of your budget. Aicha?
Chair O'Halloran and committee members, and just to expand on what Mr. Chasen was saying too, in our monthly revenue and expenditures report, we do have that carry forward column, but as Ms. Adamczyk was also, with our encumbrance and contract review, those are part of the, that is part of our cleanup that we are currently conducting. And what we are looking at, for FY27 and moving forward is for those carry forwards to kind of be the exception rather than the rule, so that we would, carry over like things that are absolutely encumbrances that we would have to pay for. So that is, and we are still in the middle of cleaning that up. And on that note, in this report for this month, we kind of put it in a larger font at the bottom that our updated, encumbrances are down to 314 million. So we are actually close to like 90 million down now. So we are really making our way through all of that as well. But I'd be happy to answer any questions on that.
Thank you. And can we actually bring up, I would like to just have kind of a walkthrough on the report on revenues and expenditures. So this is for this current year and month end of January. So we're in March, but that makes sense. It would be a hustle to get February produced for this meeting maybe. So, but with that, so can you just walk us through this, exhibit, given that we have had such, the headlines that are, showing concerns around budgeting practices and, uncovering a deficit from a prior year. Just, can you walk us through, how can I infer from here whether we are on track? Are we reducing that deficit? Are we adding to the deficit? How can we use this information to assure our constituents that we're being sound financial stewards? Which may be sort of vague. So maybe just start with, can you walk us through the exhibit?
Sure. Chair O'Halloran and fellow committee members. So I'll start from the top and we can move left to right. So I'll first start that, over the last maybe year or so since I've, come to MPS, we've changed the report around, but this newest version I think that you've seen in the last 2 months is we really tried to break out the rows by DPI fund. So these are, as we are becoming, more compliant with the state accounting requirements, We broke it out with Fund 10 and Fund 27, which are board funded, as we say here, which is, our local tax dollars. And then Fund 10 and 27 grant funded. So these are all of our state and federal grants that come in. And then Fund 38 is our debt fund, our debt service fund. And then Fund 46 is our long-term capital improvement fund, which is under operations and facilities. Fund 50 is nutrition. And then lastly, Fund 80 is our Milwaukee Rec, which is at the DPI level known as the extension fund. So what we have here is the first column is the final adopted budget. So that is actually the budget that you adopt in October at the end. And then as Mr. Chasen and I just kind of explained, that carry forward is carrying forward any of the prior year encumbrances at year end. And then the adjustments column, so there are some adjustments that happen after the board budget gets adopted. So like the one here on the second row for Fund 10 and 27 for grants, there were a lot of grants that we were awarded after the budget was adopted. Like one is the Gear Up grant, for example. We got a large amount from the EPA. So that's kind of part of what makes up that 43.8 that you see in January. So then those three numbers added together get your working budget, which is your available budget that you have. And then the next column is our year-to-date actuals. So that brings everything up until the end of the month that's listed at the top. And then Ms. Adamczyk just explained what the encumbrances are. So the encumbrances would be more obviously below on the expenditure side. And then the remaining balance, and then the percentage received. And then on the bottom, those would be the percentage expended. So for January, we were, so that's the 7-month in. So it would make sense that you're kind of right around that 50 to 55% mark. So for revenue, like the equalization aid and the tax payments that we get, those kind of jump with different, they're not like a straight, they're not a straight line because the payments come in different months. So that's why sometimes those can look a little bit, like they sometimes could look a little low. I will add for the second line, for the general and special ed fund, for the grant funded, that looks really low for January, but in January, when we had finally finished our 25 audit, we kind of sped up and we've been grant claiming like crazy, actually. So I just, in preparation for tonight, I did get that we're at 33% for February. We have like a dedicated, and we already had a dedicated team, but now we are like doing monthly claiming on all of our title IDEA. So we're getting like a couple million every month or whatever the number is. So we're really doing well on that right now. And our goal is to not have anything left when we get to 6:30. So we're really excited about that. And then moving down to the expenditures, actually, if you look, our total percentage expended is at 60%. So we're not really overexpended in that sense. And for kind of in the same for the adjustments in the general and special ed fund grant on the second row down below, you kind of see pretty much a close 44 million, and those are to set up the appropriations after we were awarded those grants. And then one other thing I'll walk you through too is lastly, there is an adjustment in Fund 80 for $52.1 million, and that was, there was actually a keying error that was found so then the budget team actually caught that, and that's why that adjustment was made later on. So that is what it should have been, but there was just an error before, a data entry error. So that's, I think, hopefully that helps walk it through a little bit, but I'm open to answer any questions.
Well, I just want to thank you for walking us through this. I think the more frequently we have these discussions, I think the better the board is equipped to ask, questions. I think it's better for our constituents to understand where we're at as a district. So thank you for that. I had emailed, ahead of time because I think the only risk with this is like you look at the working budget and it's like, are you telling me that we're projecting expenses of, $2 billion and we are only going to have $1.6 billion? So I don't want to give people the impression that these are the projections of where we actually think we're going to land. So just to confirm, the working budget column is not where you anticipate landing, is that?
That is correct. And I do want to say we are working on improving this report, and as we do clean up the encumbrances and then the working budget will be reduced as well, that will kind of come down. But I think now that we actually are kind of caught up, we have some time, and I think we're really looking at this report even more in depth and now we're really at the point where on the accounting side and then on the budget side, it will be kind of that full collaboration with the two teams working together to really get this report so that it isn't confusing either. So hopefully it will be even more, we'll make it even clearer as we move forward.
And I do also want to point out, I think it is helpful to have board and grant, like in the nonprofit world, I think about unrestricted and restricted funding that you come in. Like, I heard somebody was saying for a nonprofit, you need to have like tangible goals. This is people want to, they want to fund things. So like think about maybe gift cards. And I was like, that's cool, but you can't pay the light bill with gift cards, right? Like, that's great. And I want to hand those gift cards out, but it's nice to have the unrestricted funds. But I think it helps people understand that, like, some of the dollars that they hear can't, if it's for a restricted purpose, it can't just be repurposed over here for something else. So, even within, the broader budget, there are limitations on what we can do. So I think that's very helpful. I do also want to ask, and I think Director Zombor, do you have a question? I'm just going to go to Director Zombor. I'm just hogging the mic. Director Zombor.
It's okay, Chair O'Halloran. Thank you. Just a quick question on the on the revenue side for Fund 46, which is Long-Term Capital Improvement Trust, and Fund 50, Food Service Fund. When do we expect this fiscal year to receive most of that revenue? It looks like they're only at 2% right now.
Administration?
I will have to get back to you now that I do know that they're reporting, and when they do claim that from the state, there is usually a couple month lag. I know this looks like it hasn't been received at all, so I will have to follow up and we can get back to you on that. I'm hoping that this fall is coming through soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. And yes, and when you understand the timeline, it would also be good to know if this is one of those ones, again, where you said, like, with the processes improving for the grant line, that we've gone from 17 to 33 because we have now like some capacity to do the timely claiming. If that is something on these lines as well, it would just be good to know if that's like if the reports are filed and we're just waiting, or if it's like there's work that's internal that still needs to be done in order to receive those funds. Administration.
Chair O'Halloran, members, I think you're bringing up a really good point around looking at historical patterns on reimbursements. Not only in the district, but in other districts that are around this area. And our council partners can help us with that analysis and looking at what do other councils get from federal, typically from their federal help, what's their regular cadence. As we begin to do the work of our grant accounting, making it more timely, I think looking at that historical pattern will give us a kind of a better timeline. And then once we know that, we can anticipate better in our budgeting for when our revenues will be hitting our pockets here. Now, remembering that, we get our funding from the city coffers, so to speak, so it kind of flows in and out. And so at no time do we have to worry about not being able to feed our students or transport them because of the way that our monies flow in and out. And, you know, you vote every year for us if there is something that goes where there's an emergency to be able to secure those funds for any kind of emergency. We're not quite in that situation, even though we're in a funding deficit here. So just wanted to bring that to your attention so you didn't worry like, no, we're not going to be able to feed our children.
Thank you. I do have one other question. For the percentage received, are we comparing that, or I'm sorry, percentage expended is really where it's the expenses that keep me up at night, right? So for the percentage expended, are we using the working budget or the final adopted budget to get to that percentage?
It is based on the working budget.
Okay. So if we don't actually anticipate the working budget being where we're going to land, is that the best practice? And I will defer to you. I don't know why that would be the column that's selected versus the other one.
Chair O'Halloran, that is an excellent question, and that is kind of what we are looking at right now is as we are cleaning up the carry forwards and the encumbrances, the working budget, the budget team, a couple of the analysts are looking at and working on what the working budget should be. So it will be lower, and we're kind of looking at what that, and they're analyzing on what that should be. And as we, move forward into FY27, and, the carry forward is going to be the exception as opposed to the rule, then our working budget should be a lot closer to the final adopted budget.
Okay.
Does that help?
It does. I just want to make sure that when we're looking at and we say, oh, we're in this month and we've only spent this much money, that we're actually using the correct percentage to say green flag, red flag, Yeah. Do other committee members, Office of Accountability, anybody? All right, Office of Accountability and Efficiency.
Thank you, Chair O'Halloran, Matt Chasen, OAE. With respect to the $52 million adjustment in Fund 80, I understand there was a keying error that the intent was to have. I think that reflected in the final adopted budget, is I think what I heard. But I want to make sure that we have the appropriate order of operations to be policy compliant. What we don't want to have, and it's good because this report raised that there was a $52 million adjustment, but we don't want the board to, after the fact, be told that it has been given or provided $52 million worth of authority without first having seen it and approved it. I think is more a policy compliant order of operations. So I understand that it was a keying error that produced it, but just stressing going forward that the policy compliant path would be to bring that type of an adjustment more visibly for approval and then have it appear here. Thank you.
Thank you for flagging that. That is not an insignificant amount of money, so. Administration.
Chair O'Halloran, Mr. Chasen, could you tell me which policy that is so that I can refer to it as I get more familiar with all of our policies?
Yeah, I'll send you that information later tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair O'Halloran, just one quick comment. That error, that keying error, it was correct in FY20. It was correct in the preceding year. So then when this had to do with the encumbrances for the community center, then it was keyed in incorrectly. So that's how the budget team caught that. So it wasn't that it wasn't previously authorized.
Okay. Director Jackson?
Question with my statement earlier as far as change orders are let me put it down, the approval that the budget, with the board approving the budget, will that reflect in the current budget, as well as with the approval, how far will that push the budget line?
Do you understand the question, or do you
Me and Matt almost kind of had the same question, so we're on the same wavelength
There's a
is
$52
thinking.
million keying error, and then, so the question is then, are we $52 million overspent in that fund? Is that what you're trying to get to, Director Jackson,
No,
or?
with the change order piece that I mentioned.
Okay.
Right, knowing that access, whatever that may be, and with us approving that budget, how will it affect now with a new number coming in? What would that look like?
This is already approved. This is not, this is part of the community center, so it's not extra. It's not approving something extra that wasn't previously approved. Does that make sense?
Chair O'Halloran, Director Jackson, if I understand you correctly, this is in Fund 80, which is
Right.
not in Fund 10. So this is not impacting our current Fund 10 budget.
Okay.
This would be impacting the Fund 80 budget, which is a completely different budget. With this allocation, from what I'm hearing from Ms. Sava, is that this was a keying error in regards to a past year regarding the project in the Northwest Center for that project that was previously authorized. Is that clear?
Okay, so we would end
So
up.
it wouldn't
in-
impact Fund 10.
Okay, no, so as far as red or black, where we would land?
This particular 52 million
Yeah.
does not impact what I think you're talking about in our operating budget of Fund 10, if I'm understanding you
Okay.
correctly. And I know you said, Mr. Chasen, can you help us out here too, if we're all understanding the right way and what we're following? In terms of Fund 80, Fund 10, the operating, and this $52 million error? And
Yes,
affecting our
Office of
bottom line.
Accountability and Efficiency.
Best way you can.
Yeah.
Matt Jason, Office of Accountability and Efficiency. So I think Director Jackson's ask, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is $52 million worth of authority has appeared. Is there the fund availability to pay for that budget authority that has now appeared? I think is the question.
So, okay, so let's compare the two, right? So let's take a step back. December, there was 0 in the adjustment on Fund 80, right? And then in January, now we're seeing a $52 million adjustment on that line. And so I think, are you trying to ask, regardless if it's operating funds or if it's in the extension fund, at the end of the day, it's all MPS, right? Like this is all our budget. So Director Jackson, are you trying to get to, was there $52 million that was approved or expended without board approval? Are we overspending because in January we're seeing $52 million? Is this a new spend that was not previously approved and planned for? And
Yes.
I don't know if that's, okay,
We on the
I think
same
Director Jackson and I, we're here. I don't know if everybody else is, but administration.
I'm, concerned about impact, if that's gonna negatively impact us or not.
So this is part of the Northwest Community Center. I think what might be better is maybe if we come back with the full kind of accounting, or we can come back
That's
to you
fair.
so that we can make sure that, we can account for where everything is so that we don't say anything wrong.
Gotcha.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for this robust discussion. I appreciate the opportunity to discuss this very important topic. So, do any other committee members wish to ask questions, make comments? I see Ms. Matos.
So I'm hoping it does correlate to this, but I know it will definitely be within the slide. So Chair O'Halloran, correct?
Mhm.
Right? Chair O'Halloran and members of the board, DPI budget, I'm very sorry. Okay, so then one of my questions is, since you guys are now going to be reviewing the encumbrances on contracts every 3 months and things like that, and updating the procedures and processes to review all excess purchases orders over like 250,000 or something like that? Thank you. Can we expect any significant changes with this going on if we are going to be looking at the contracts every 3 months for risk? Like if there is risk detected, do we expect a significant change in these percentages and the amount of funding we're getting, or how would that work? Because I do know there is a lot of changes happening within FPS considering funding. So how significant would that impact be now that we're going to be reviewing almost every 3 months of these encumbrances and everything like that? And then also checking on purchase orders over the exceeding amount.
Administration?
Chair O'Halloran and fellow student and fellow committee members, I think that is a great question. I think the simplest answer is that it will make the reporting more accurate. And from a risk perspective, I think it will definitely decrease risk because, again, the reporting will be more accurate and we'll know, through more robust analysis and discussion with other departments, we'll know if we are spending that full $100,000 or what isn't going to be spent or what will be spent. So actually, this extra analysis and work by the procurement division will decrease our risk as an organization. Thank you for the question.
Do you have any follow-up, Ms. Matos?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Chair O'Halloran and members of the board and administration, my follow-up question would be if we can expect any changes within the contracts. So if we were to change to a different organization or company due to probably finding a company that provides the same good equipment and things like that, resources, than the one that we are currently on contract for, can we expect things like that happening anytime soon, or?
Administration?
Chair O'Halloran, members of the committee, great question. What we do is we typically have 3 bids that are required for purchase orders and contracts that are valued at under $50,000. Anything over $50,000 has to come to this board for approval. And if we find, for example, that a good or something that we're purchasing, we can get a better price somewhere else, we do review that and get a quote for that and potentially make that available to the district as well. All right. This is another thing that we're looking at with respect to what we had mentioned earlier, like the menu of services or goods. We currently have some of that already available to the departments and schools, but we're going to try to broaden that like menu of services and goods to also make it easier for everyone to purchase, so that schools and departments are not spending a lot of time trying to search for something when we can possibly have it readily available for them. But again, in answer to your question, if we find something that is better or cheaper, better quality, but at a more reasonable price, we're always willing to take that and run with it.
Thank you. Do you have any follow-up, Ms. Matos?
No, thank you so much.
Okay. Okay, and I was going to say, let's keep going, but I did have one more question, and I'm sorry. Since we're talking about the procedures that you're building to do the reviews, bringing that ceiling down, I guess, from 10,000 to 2,500, do we have adequate staffing for that, or are we able to, deploy technology to, speed that up? Because what I don't want to is to pursue risk management at the expense of all of the other work that needs to get done. And so can you kind of walk us through the likelihood that we'll be able to accomplish this goal without bogging down the process?
Chair O'Halloran, members of the committee, Janine Adamczyk, Director of Procurement and Risk Management. At this time, I believe that our staff will be able to adequately manage this additional work. We did a quick recap of the last fiscal year, and this was approximately an additional 3,000 purchase orders that would add to our workload, but I believe that my staff is very capable of managing that. And if we were to see something else, well, we'll obviously see what we need to do to reconfigure and ensure that we can make things happen with a low risk to the district.
Yeah, thank you. I see, Dr. Casalius, do you have?
Chair O'Halloran, members of the board, as you know, we are in a soft freeze as well. So we are not purchasing a lot of things right now, and I don't anticipate we'll be purchasing a lot in the future. And also schools, we're centralizing our operations services, so they won't be purchasing little items like that. We're looking at printing, we're looking at other things for cost savings, and as we provide greater efficiencies centrally, that should also provide for less procurement needs in the future. So hopefully it'll balance, but I'm going to have Ms. Adamczyk work with us in making sure that she has what she needs to both manage risk, because that's really important to the organization, as well as manage her department and with the influx that she has coming in. So thanks for the question.
Thank you. All right. Any other questions or comments before, yes, ooh, Director Zompor.
I was actually going to move approval of
So soon?
the administration's recommendation that the board, one, authorize the purchases, and two, accept the donations as listed in attachments with appropriate acknowledgement to be made on behalf of the board.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
On Director Zomber's motion to approve the administration's recommendation as listed, Director Herndon?
Aye.
Director Jackson?
Aye.
Director Reza?
Aye.
Director Zomber?
Aye.
And Chair O'Halloran?
Aye.
That's 5 ayes, the motion passes.
Madam Secretary, next item, please.
Item 2 is action on a request to enter into a lease agreement with Foodright, Inc. at Golda Meir School located at 227 West Pleasant Street. The recommendation is that the board approve this lease agreement with Foodright, Inc. at Golda Meir School.
Would the administration please present the item?
Chair O'Halloran and members of the committee, Brenda Caselli as superintendent. This evening, we're seeking board approval of a lease agreement with Foodright, a Milwaukee-based nonprofit that provides hands-on cooking and garden-based nutrition education for students and families. They engage families through virtual lessons and at-home meal kits, works to support healthy eating habits, and provides access to nutritious foods. The purpose of this lease is not to provide physical space for instruction, but simply to store the equipment Foodright uses between school visits. If you have any questions, I'm joined by Interim Chief Operations Officer, Chief Terza, who will assist in providing responses to your questions.
Thank you. Do any members of the audience wish to ask questions?
We have no speaker slips.
Thank you. Do committee members wish to make comments or ask questions? Seeing none, what is the pleasure of the committee with respect to this item? Director Herndon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to approve the recommendation of administration. This is a unit that simply needs space to store their utensils that they use as they travel throughout our district, servicing our students. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you. Do any committee members, questions, comments? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, oh, yes, Ms. Matos.
Okay. Chair O'Halloran and members of the board, I just want to say this would be a very nice thing to incorporate within our schools. I'm really glad that it seems like it will be starting at Golda, because I do know a lot of Golda kids already have something similar to this going on. And so kind of starting it there and then kind of seeing how it goes is a really nice thing. And then it being virtual is also very handy, I feel like, because it does give leniency to a lot of people that probably can't afford to come in person or things like that. So I think that's very good. And I think it's a very great program to have, and I hope it does get incorporated like throughout all the MPS schools and things like that. And then I guess it's more of a general question about it, like what exactly, so with the virtual lessons and the meal kits and things like that, what lessons exactly are going to be taught to these students and their parents and things like that, the community, and how exactly would the transportation of foods between these schools go.
Administration? I know this is kind of a lease discussion, but can you walk us through a little bit more about the program itself, please?
Director Halloran, members of the committee, Michael Terza, interim chief operations officer. Foodright has been doing this program for a number of years in our schools, and it's an education program that they bring into the schools in which they teach students and parents, actually. They kind of have two components. One's as a parent group and one's a student group, in which they teach them about how to prepare healthy foods, how to use locally grown produce and things like that. And it's just more of an awareness for parents of what is available and how they could cook food for their families. And what they use the Golda Meir facility for is really, as Director Herndon said, is just to store their pots and pans. And they clean them and everything, and they just need a place to store them. And that's really, they are probably in a good 20 to 25 of our schools right now. And they would love to be more. They're funded through grants, and so usually it's the grant that limits their scope of participation.
Ms. Batos, do you have any other questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you. So we do have a motion on the floor, I think, and I don't see any questions or comments. So, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
On Director Herndon's motion to approve the administration's recommendation, Director Herndon.
Aye.
Director Jackson.
Aye.
Director Reza.
Aye.
Director Zomber.
Aye.
And Chair O'Halloran.
Aye.
That's 5 ayes. The motion passes.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Next item, please.
Item 3 is action on a request to approve the Fourth Amendment to extend the lease agreement with Carmen High School of Science and Technology at the Walker Complex located at 1712 South 32nd Street. The recommendation is that the board approve the Fourth Amendment to the lease agreement with Carmen High School of Science and Technology at the Walker Complex.
Would the administration please present the item?
Chair O'Halloran and members of the committee, Brenda Casalia, Superintendent. The next 3 items, B3, B4, and B5, are from multiple Carmen locations as we're seeking your approval of 3 amendments to the existing lease agreements with Carmen High School of Science and Technology, Northwest, Walker Complex, and Pulaski High School. These amendments provide a 1-month extension for each location through July 31st, 2026, allowing each site to continue operating its summer school program for the month of July. I'm joined by Interim Chief Terza to address any questions you may have.
Thank you. Do members of the public wish to ask questions or make comments? Madam Secretary, do we have any speaker slips?
We do not.
Thank you. Do committee members wish to make comments or ask questions? Director Zombor?
Should I wait? Can I just ask a question about the Pulaski one now? I know we're like taking them item by item, but since
I think we're going item by item.
That's what we were leaning into. You can motion to consider
wait.
all 3 at once, or you
Oh.
can wait.
I just have a question on one of them, and I guess it would relate to taking them all together, depending on the answer. Is that okay, Chair
I guess
O'Halloran?
I'm actually looking towards,
Okay.
Office of Board Governance since these are noticed, I think individually as items, do we need to take each item individually?
As it is right now, we need to take each item individually unless there was a motion to consider all of them at once.
Okay.
Well, I'll save my question then for item
Okay.
5.
Well, we're going to start with Walker. So does anybody have any questions or comments related to Walker? Do I have a motion for Walker? Director Jackson?
Absolutely. Yes. I approve the request of the Fifth Amendment to modify the lease agreement with Carmen High School.
Okay. So if there's no further discussion, the secretary will please call the roll.
On Director Jackson's motion to approve the administration's recommendation to approve the Fourth Amendment to extend the lease agreement with Carmen High School of Science and Technology at the Walker Complex. Director Herndon.
Aye.
Director Jackson.
Aye.
Director Reza.
Aye.
Director Zomber.
Aye.
And Chair O'Halloran.
Aye.
That's 5 ayes. The motion passes.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, next item, please.
Item 4 is action on a request to approve the Fifth Amendment to modify the lease agreement with Carmen High School of Science and Technology at the Northwest Secondary School building located at 5496 North 72nd Street. The recommendation is that the board approve the Fifth Amendment to the lease agreement with Carmen High School of Science and Technology.
Thank you. Would the administration please present the item?
Chair O'Halloran, members of the committee, Brenda Caselli, Superintendent. This evening, we are seeking your approval of an amendment to the existing lease agreement with Carmen High School of Science and Technology at the Northwest Secondary Building.
Do any members of the public wish to make comments?
They do not.
Thank you. Do committee members wish to make comments or ask questions? Director Zombor?
Thank you, Chair O'Halloran. The question I have is around, I just want to ensure that Pulaski is going to have space over the summer to do any planning they need to get ready for the rooms that they didn't have access to previously.
So we are going to start.
We're on
I know,
fifth.
I know. It's confusing because they all sound exactly the same except for Walker,
I'm
Northwest,
sorry. Okay.
et cetera. So this one is around the Northwest Secondary School
Oh,
building
sorry.
located at
Okay.
5496
I might have
North
just had the wrong
72nd.
tab open.
Yep.
Thank
So,
you.
but I did see Director Herndon. So let's go to Director Herndon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to approve the recommendation of administration as related to the Fifth Amendment and Northwest Secondary Carmen location.
Okay. Do we have any questions or comments related to the motion? Seeing none, if there's no further discussion, Secretary will please call the roll.
On Director Herndon's motion to approve the administration's recommendation with regard to the Fifth Amendment to the lease at the Northwest Secondary location, Director Herndon.
Aye.
Director Jackson.
Aye.
Director Reza.
Aye.
Director Zomber.
Aye.
And Chair O'Halloran.
Aye.
That's 5 ayes. The motion passes.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Next item, please.
Item 5 is action on a request to approve the Fifth Amendment to the lease agreement with Carmen High School of Science and Technology at Casimir Pulaski High School located at 2500 West Oklahoma Avenue. The recommendation is that the board approve the Fifth Amendment to the lease agreement with Carmen High School of Science Technology at Casimir Pulaski High School.
Thank you. Would administration please present the item?
Chair O'Halloran, members of the committee, Brenda Caselli, Superintendent. This evening, we're seeking your approval of an amendment to the existing lease agreement with Carmen High School of Science and Technology in Pulaski High School.
Thank you. Do any members of the public wish to make comments?
We have no comments.
Does Director Zombor want to make any comments or ask any questions?
Thank you, Chair O'Halloran. Would the administration just be able to talk about what, I just want to make sure that Pulaski has adequate time to prepare for the next school year and work on anything that would have to be done with the spaces that they didn't currently have access to. I know they've been waiting a very long time to get access to these rooms and plan. Can administration just talk about what the timeline will be to make sure that Pulaski will be able to get in those rooms and get them ready for the next school year?
Administration?
Director O'Halloran, members of the committee, Mike Terza, Interim Chief Operations Officer. We have not yet received any kind of request from Pulaski, but we are ready for them. The rooms will be thoroughly cleaned. If we need additional furniture, desks, equipment, what they need to do is contact my office, and we would provide that for them. The list sooner than later would be better, but I would not anticipate any problems with them moving into any rooms. The process that we basically have for that, though, is that they contact their academic superintendent, who then works with the school and then works with my office to forward those requests.
Director Zombor? I recognize that it would be the general process that they would reach out to the academic superintendent and then they would work with you. But I do think in this case, a proactive, hey, this is a significant change coming to your building would also probably be helpful if there is adequate, if you have the bandwidth. But, okay. Do other committee members have questions? Seeing none, do we have a motion? Wait, Director Zombor.
Actually,
puzzled look.
That's all right, that's all right. I'll ask this. I was just wondering if they're using it, I'll ask this offline. That's fine. It's
Okay.
not related to the lease.
All right, so on this lease, do we have a motion? Director Jackson?
Number 5, I move that we approve the Fifth Amendment to the lease agreement with Carmen High School of the Science and Technology at Pulaski High School.
Thank you. If there's no further discussion, the secretary will please call the roll.
On Director Jackson's motion to approve the administration's recommendation to approve the Fifth Amendment to the lease agreement with Carmen High School at Casimir-Pulaski High School. Director Herndon.
Aye.
Director Jackson.
Aye.
Director Reza.
Aye.
Director Zomber.
Aye.
And Chair O'Halloran.
Aye.
That's 5 ayes, the motion passes.
Madam Secretary, next item, please.
Madam Chair, item 6 is action on a request to waive Administrative Policy 3.09, Parent 9, Parent E, and issue a contract to Cybersoft Technologies, Inc. The recommendation is that the board waive Administrative Policy 3.09 and authorize the professional services contracts as set forth in the attachments to this item.
Would the administration please present the item?
Chair O'Halloran, members of the committee, Brenda Caselli, Superintendent. The item before you on this evening's agenda is a request to waive Administrative Policy 3.09 so that a contract can be issued for Cybersoft Technologies. This contract will support school menu planning and nutrition reporting services. It provides specialized nutrition software solutions and information technology, enabling the district to manage menus, maintain compliance with federal and state requirements, and also generate accurate, real-time reports for school nutrition programs. Approval of this contract will help to ensure the district continues to deliver efficient, compliant, and high-quality nutrition services for our students. Thank you.
Thank you. Do any members of the public wish to make comments?
We have no speaker slips.
Thank you. Do committee members wish to make comments or ask questions? Representative, Mr. De La Cruz.
Director O'Halloran and members of the committee, I am wondering when will the students get benefit from this contract? As I see, it will start April 1st, but I wonder when students will get benefit from this.
Administration?
Director O'Halloran, members of the committee, if the contract is approved by the board, we will begin to enter the contract and begin to implement the software. We expect that this will be in effect for the first day of school, September 1, 2026.
Thank you. Mr. De La Cruz, do you have any follow-up?
No, I do not.
Okay. Unfortunately, Mr. De La Cruz, I think, is a senior, so he won't benefit from it. But his colleagues that he's representing, they will see the benefits. Director Jackson, okay. Do we have other questions or comments? Okay. What is the pleasure of the committee with respect to this item? Director Jackson?
Absolutely. I move to approve the request to waive Administrative Policy 3.09, parenthesis 9, parenthesis E, and issue a contract for Cybersoft Technologies.
Thank you. If there is no further discussion, okay. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
On Director Jackson's motion to waive Administrative Policy 3.09, Parent 9, Parent E, and issue a contract to Cybersoft Technologies. Director Herndon.
Aye.
Director Jackson.
Aye.
Director Reza.
Aye.
Director Zomber.
Aye.
And Chair O'Halloran.
Aye.
That's 5 ayes, the motion passes.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, next item, please.
Item 7 is quarterly report on district audits and reviews. This is an informational item and no action is required.
Would the administration please present the item?
Chair O'Halloran, members of the committee, Brenda Caselli, Superintendent. This evening, we will provide an update on our progress toward addressing and completing the recommendations from previous audit findings in the area of operations, human resources, and academics. As you know, I've been here just over a year now, and when we first got here, we had the governor's audit as well as the academic audit that was given, and then we issued the human resource audit. And even this week, we have the Council of Great City Schools here auditing our special ed division and also our student services division. These audits are critically important to helping us improve our efficiency. They're helping us to provide better service to our community and to really get the resources closest to students. And then to just, be good stewards of the public's trust and hold ourselves accountable for improvement. I'm joined today by Chief Maniscalco, Harris, and Mims Howell, who will assist me in highlighting the steps that they've been able to take with their teams to implement these recommendations. We'll be sharing some of the outcomes achieved so far and discuss next steps to ensure full resolution and continued improvement in these key areas. Many of the reports and audits have called for multi-year implementation of their audit findings. However, we feel really proud of the progress that we've been making so far and trying to work through many of these, and I think hair on fire is sometimes how we feel. And they'll talk about it because we really do have a belief system that if we can right the ship, so to speak, and really clean up some of the risk and the processes and put in place good control environment within the district, we're going to absolutely be able to serve our children and our community better. And so at this time, I'm going to go through a PowerPoint very quickly on the 3 audits. I anticipate the other 2 audits will be available to us in either May or June. And as I've shared previously, we are also just completed a transportation study. It wasn't an audit, so to speak, but it was a study where we could find opportunities and efficiencies for savings and better service. So number of things going on to get a better look and to help our teams really hone their practice and their work as we move forward. So I'm going to go ahead and work through these slides. I'm going to work from here so I don't have to look up there because I can't read it without my cheaters. So as you know, there were 3 key areas of our operational audit, and I'll start with the operational audit, move into our HR audit, and then move into our academic audit, I believe. That was first to create a coherent central system by restructuring central office and then investing in some of our human resource processes and then making targeted shifts to our strategic plan. The next was fostering meaningful communication. This was a really big finding, and collaboration among the different departments and schools, and then making sure that we were improving the board and district collaboration, making sure that was transparent and clear with reporting and communication, and then also enhancing data management and utilization. The third key area was to operate and fund strategically, maintaining external accountability structures, investing in technology infrastructure and planning so that different systems within the broader enterprise speak to one another, and then redesigning key internal procedures. So far, we have 22 recommended action steps that are complete or in progress, 29 recommendations propose more comprehensive multi-year initiatives, and most of those recommendations list multiple action steps underneath them that need to be taken. Some are on the planning side, and some of them are on the execution and implementation side. Status of proposed action steps in January of 2026 so far is 28% are complete, that's around 8. 59% complete are in progress, and 10% planned for next year, and then 3% planned for a future year. Top priorities for currently are to finalize our governance framework, adopt an updated strategic plan, launch comprehensive communications plan, redesign onboarding and professional learning systems, and advance department restructuring. So of those 22 action steps that are complete in progress, we've hired our new Chief of Communications, Operations, and Human Resources. We've conducted the superintendent listening tours. We've collaborated with the board communications office really well, and we've enhanced our external communications, and actually we also have a brand new website. We have redesigned employee reporting processes, and also under governance, we've provided multiple trainings in collaboration with our board clerk and their team for the board. Underway, under governance, we've clarified roles across governance offices, including the Office of OAE, the administration, and also our Office of Board Governance. And we are meeting, is it weekly or biweekly? I think it's weekly. Sometimes we have to cancel. But we meet regularly, let me say that, across our offices just to problem solve and to make sure that we're all in good communication. And we talk to each other almost every day. And then we redesigned departmental structures, reporting lines, and job scopes. There will be some shifts to this because of the $46 million deficit and some of the restructuring that we have to do to meet that deficit and some of the different efficiencies that we had to find within the district. So we'll come back to you with some of those updates in May with the org chart and where those changes had to shift because of the deficit. Strategy, we're updating the strategic plan and to align with goals. We're actually really have a good working draft that Mr. Harris has worked on, and we are anxious to get that on the agenda. It's been bumped a couple times because of other priorities right now, but I think this is a really key piece for us moving forward. But I would say this is complete from our end, and we are ready to share it with the board and make sure that the board is able to see it and then decide how they want to move forward with it, either further community discussion around it or whether you're ready to adopt it. And then operations, we're standardizing our operations, technology, and onboarding. And I know that Mr. Meyer is doing some pretty key work to develop that technology plan and some enterprise solutions around our Google framework. Let's look at just goal 1, creating a coherent central system. So clarifying the roles of our independent offices, that's still continuing and in progress, mostly because of the deficit. We have to make some shifts there. Evaluating departmental structures, we believe that's pretty complete. We've hired the chief, what is this? Oh, Chief Communications. We don't use the CCO acronym here, so that one floored me for a minute. So our Chief of Communications, our Chief Operating Officer, as you've met, Mr. Terza, and then creating cross-functional special projects teams. We haven't had a chance to do a lot of that, but we do work cross-functional on a number of projects. But what this one was is identifying future projects for efficiencies and workflow, and we're still in a lot of the reactive mode because we're doing still so much deep analysis. And so creating those cross-functional teams is something I'm anxious to get to next year. That is more of, you plan the team, you plan the work and the goals that need to get done, the strategies that are part of it, and you deploy that team and you implement it and then you measure. I know that Mr. Chasen is familiar with that process as well. And then our human resources department, as you know, has just been really doing a deep dive. They had 4 audits prior, and so they're deep diving into those audits beforehand, and then the current human resources audit to really put a lens on the work that they have to do in human resources. And we've hired Chief Maniscalco, and we've been working to redesign our employee reporting process, our employee staffing process, external surge support, number of those things that are currently in progress, and we'll speak to those a little bit further when we get more in depth in the human resources audit. And then we are making targeted shifts to the strategic plan. So this plan now links the goals to student outcomes. It also creates a district-wide implementation plan. And the way that we got to kind of where we landed on the strategic plan, and we're eager to share it, is really listening to those 9 listening tours, listening to our parents and all of our academic superintendents out in the schools giving us feedback on items that we're learning from our school communities as well. Goal 2 is fostering meaningful communication and collaboration. So we continue to work on communication. This was a big one between the administration and the board. I think we have really good relationships, oftentimes talking at all times of the day, making sure that we have a co-governing model and sharing and problem solving together and making sure that we're co-planning together as well and holding ourselves accountable. Bolstering leadership and operations within communications. I'm super proud of Mr. Taliavia and the work that he's doing with his team. It's the first time we've actually had a fully staffed communications office, and they are just hitting it out of the park, and I'm excited for you to learn more about what we're doing around that. He just presented the enrollment plan the other day, and really excited about some of the key pieces they're doing also in social media that are making us all dance stars on TikTok and things like that. So lots of fun items that we're doing with getting attention, not only with the website, but also some of those communications pieces. And then just the external engagement with the community as well, and showing up out in the community with our communications team, lots of press conferences, lots of opportunities to showcase the really excellent work that's happening out in our schools. And then enhancing data management utilization. I think this is the area that we have the most need to focus on. And as we get to pivot now to more of our academic agenda and more of our looking at our data-driven decision-making, we're going to start to dig deeper into a more unified data set and the kind of reporting that we can do to inform our progress moving forward, and then also to do our decision-making around how we deploy resources to our schools. An example of this is working, recently we had the new projection for enrollment. So Formative came in, and we have a new way to actually look at projected enrollment that is actually based in science and data, and that's one way. The other piece that we are doing is working with Formative on our data decision-making around class size management, and that's going to be future work for this fall, and how that will help us create better equity across the district and how we're enrolling our students and how we're managing class size. So getting better data, using that data in ways that will help us make better decisions that really do impact the outcomes for our children and for our schools. Then also, we need to upskill research and assessment and data. That means new investments in research, assessment, and data as we go. Right now, we have Formative helping us kind of identify what are those areas, and so that's a future planned item for us. And then ultimately, we want to have a public-facing dashboard, and maybe even one for all of our schools. There is many models out there in other council districts who have these public-facing dashboards, and they feed into our data system so that parents can see data about our schools, and that just helps them make decisions and understand the work that's going on out in schools. Now, each school will have their own website, and they do have their own website, and we are upgrading all of those websites currently. Goal 3 was to operate and fund strategically, and this is the project that, obviously we're in a deficit, and so we are continuing to engage with DPI on where we can find new revenue sources, identify new areas of opportunity for increased support from the Department of Public Instruction. We continue to invest in technology infrastructure and planning. How can our technology help us and provide greater efficiencies? I think in the future you will see us bringing forward some new solutions so that our PeopleSoft system speaks to our finance Business Plus system, and that can create greater efficiencies and better accuracy in our reporting. And so this is ongoing and future work that is in progress as we're doing the planning right now for what will be future implementation. Mr. Meyer is also looking at the 5-year tech improvement roadmap, and that should be, that's in development. And I don't have a timeline right now on when that is going to be presented to the board, but we can get back to you on that. And then finally, redesigning our onboarding process. You're going to hear a little bit more about that. We need to hire a permanent comptroller and a deputy budget director, and then overhauling our reporting and our grievance processes are some internal procedures and opportunities that we still have ahead of us strategically. So I don't know if you want me to go through all of these really quick or take them one by one. Do you have any questions on the operations side of things for the operational audit? And then I can go to, I assume most of your questions will probably be on the human resource side.
I guess we can pause here. Do we have any speaker slips on this?
We do not.
Okay. Do committee members want to start with this chunk? Do we have any questions, comments, desire to keep it moving? All right. We're going to move on to the Council of Great City Schools review,
Great.
I think.
I'm going to quickly go through human resources, although I have the Chief Maniscalco here who can correct me on anything I might have say wrong. And then he'll take the hard questions. I'll take the easy ones. So Some of the outlined strategic recommendations for HRs, there's 18 strategic recommendations, and of course, under that are many, many more. And then, of course, like I mentioned, there was 4 additional audits that were done that they also have as a guide to look at in terms of the importance of which ones weren't handled previously that still need to handle. I think the ones that you see in green are the ones that we're right now working on. And we're looking at HR leadership, we're looking at customer service, we're looking at organizational structure, teacher recruitment, hiring and onboarding, and data accuracy. Doesn't mean we're ignoring the others because those are in yellow and we're still working on them, but the green ones are where we've been able to really make some movement. 62% of the action steps are complete or in progress. Of the 18 recommendations, there's 95 proposed action steps. So you can imagine the immense amount of work that the team is undertaking to be able to provide excellent service to our internal and external community. We're taking action on 63 of those in FY26. 62% are complete or underway. As you can see, you see that if you look at the right side of the bar, you can see there's 6 complete, 33 in progress, 24 planned for FY26, and 32 planned for future school years. Top priorities for FY26 are HR leadership, org structure, teacher recruitment, hiring and onboarding, customer service, and data accuracy. 39 action steps are complete or in progress. Of course, this is hiring the chief of HR, which was a big plus for us, able to steal him from Chicago, and really happy with how he's leading the department and restructuring and providing service. The other really big area for us, obviously, is to ensure there's a caring and competent teacher in every single classroom. And so there's been teacher recruitment, year-round teaching recruitment model, new reach out to new university partners, and that's just been really a strong focus for us moving in our HR department. Underway is the restructuring of the department, their strategic plan, and deploying and prioritizing the work. You know, obviously in an HR department, they have all kinds of work to do, whether it's labor relations, or if it's hiring, or if it's customer service, or looking at the employee handbook and labor management. There's just so many things that they're working on. And then just overall change management in the organization and being good partners to the other chiefs as well with their departments. The Council of Great City Schools recommendations, February 26th, you can see here's a quick look at some of what they recommended, obviously leadership, org structure, HR strategic plan. And so you can see there to the right what's been completed and what's in progress. And then going on to hiring authority, looking at delegated hiring authority. We did some of those policy changes already to make it easier to begin to hire faster and quicker and meet timelines so that we can stay competitive. And then in teacher recruitment, as you know, we've already done we've identified 19 schools for priority status, and we continue to work to find new ways, and that will get better and better every year as people get used to this priority cycle that we have, and being able to really recruit more strategically as we get university partners on board for our schools that have been more difficult to find permanent teachers for. This is a huge priority that I have, and it's my goal that in these 19 schools that we start the school year with not one teacher vacancy. Succession planning, this is really important for departments that we are building, the chief, the next level down, and then how are we showing to our employees who come in at entry level a career ladder so that they'll see their trajectory, and that will help us with retention. So succession planning is both up and down to make sure that people who are in entry-level positions or that you're opening up the door to see how they can grow and the talent. We do have tuition reimbursement within the district, and I don't know how widely it's used. Maybe Mr. Maniscalco can share with us, but this is one thing that we want to make sure that our employees know, that working at MPS can be a career, and it's a great place to work, and there's a lot of pride here. And so it's not only planning for people to leave, but it's also planning for that career ladder. Employee development, this is also a big part of the HR department, is how do we develop our employees, develop that career ladder? How do we have partners with our university partners to expand opportunities? And then how do we recognize and reward our employees who are here to make sure that they know that they're valued and that their work matters? And then, of course, we talked a lot already about hiring and onboarding and the importance of that. And then, again, open communication is one, I think Mr. Maniscalco and his team are really working on responsiveness. I know his responsiveness sometimes is within minutes, definitely within hours, and definitely within, 1 or 2 days at the last. And so we really, as a chief team, have prided ourselves on being responsive to our community, both internal and external, in getting back to people, because when they write us, it's because it's important. And so that goes even with the constituent complaints that come in. We monitor those all the time at every single senior team meeting, and trying to be responsive to our community with constituent concerns. We implemented a customer service strategy through our Family Community Engagement Office, and we plan to bring back some of that data to you once we have that. And that's just an ongoing strategy to gauge when people come into the building if they feel like they're getting good service. And that's going to be really important for us to know where we can improve and where we're doing well, and we can recognize and reward those departments. And then just overall district culture, addressing this culture of fear that was identified in the organization in the operational audit. This was one of the things that just kind of shocked me when I first came in to and just kind of our ways of working with one another and how we treat one another, and starting with the role modeling of that at the top, and being kind and generous and responsive to people, and being dependable and being consistent, and being a person of integrity and of your word, and doing, walking the talk. And so hopefully people see that from the leadership down throughout the organization. Obviously things don't change right away, and we're in a really difficult situation now with deficits, and having to make cuts, which makes it, very a difficult culture, just quite honestly. And trying to care for employees in a really tough time in the district. So just knowing that we're trying to take the extra attention through communications and through HR to care for each one of our employees through this very difficult time, and to then begin to look at the items that we can do in terms of their psychological safety and the care and feeding that we need to do as we go through this change over the next several weeks and months. And then we are working on the employee handbook with our union partners. That's a big lift. We're doing that also with our city attorneys. That requires a lot of work to make sure that we are guiding and being aligned with our policy. There's a deep level policy work that started before I even came with the Office of Board Governance. And I know that many of you have been involved in that policy lift with our Neola partners. I think this is one of the really big things that will eliminate risk in the future, is that we have updated, accurate policies, because that's what we'll use to hold ourselves accountable. And so I'm very proud of the work that the Office of Board Governance and our team here liaison with to make sure that we're able to get all of those policies updated. I think our target date is June 30th to get that work done. I mean, districts undertaking policy work, it's a big task. It's a lot of work, and then to make them accessible to the public so that it's easy for them to come and chronicle and search and see what we're holding ourselves accountable for and what our expectations are for our staff. And then the HR Service Center, I'll let Dom talk more about that and how they're providing a service, and then change management, of course. And then employee relations, obviously this is a lot of work that we do daily to work through employee concerns, employee grievances, workman's comp situations, family medical leave requests, et cetera. So, and labor management meetings. And so employee relations is a very busy department for us. with 10,000 plus employees, where we're trying to meet the needs and answer the concerns of our employees. And so we do a lot of work with our city attorneys here, but could use a few more attorneys, as I've shared multiple times. You know, I think we need our own attorneys at some point, which would be great. Then, of course, still working on data accuracy, and this is really important, particularly in our systems and how our systems talk, position control. This is like important. We continue to work on that, and you know, that's just an ongoing piece that we're working on with our finance department. And then, of course, background verification, fingerprinting. How can we get that going so that it's faster? It's not holding up us getting hiring people, but also accurate. And so looking at some of those procedures. And then instructional staffing, you know, this is really making sure that we're aligning our strategy with our instructional priorities, making sure that our teachers, our new teachers, are mentored appropriately, making sure that there's support for teachers and principals and others throughout the system who might be needing additional support. Because their evaluation came back, identifying different areas that maybe they needed additional support in, and then doing some looking at future around, you know, can we do some early retirement notification or incentives to help with some of our entry level and retirement age, and making sure we have a nice balance between experience and new folks coming in with new ideas, and trying to manage some of that in the HR area. So those are the big pieces of HR. I could certainly go through instruction very fast, because I think this is the area you actually know the most about, because we have gone through at SASE and at the board meetings a ton around instruction. So I could knock this one out if you'd like, or we could stop here and do operations and HR.
Why don't we just take a
break?
Quick pause.
Okay.
Any questions, comments, concerns about this chunk of the audit? Okay. We'll let you get some water, take a deep breath, and go. I'm just kidding. So it sounds like we can move on to the next
But I think
chunk.
the most important piece of this, and even as I walk through these with you, is the work is getting done. And I think that anybody can now go on and see the key areas that we're working on. What I am interested in doing in the future is the metrics, and aligning the metrics that will come with the strategic plan, because we obviously can't report on 96 or 100, you know, every single meeting. So with the strategic plan, then we'll be able to hone in what we're finding, where we're doing the biggest amount of work in each of these key areas, and then we'll be able to assign one or two metrics that the board wants us to report on publicly, even though we'll be on a public dashboard for all of them. I think what the time we spend here could be much more focused on the items that the board is most passionate about, or that they want to get further information on. And that comes with the strategic plan. Okay? So let me go through our instructional program. There were 4 key areas of our instructional program, and like I said, we've talked about these at almost every meeting. We talk about our academic program and what we're doing instructionally. We took the ambitious instruction, which was a really solid plan moving forward, but it just, because of COVID, had not had an opportunity to really launch, and the board had adopted it and been moving forward. So we really took what was good, and we're just trying to make it better and better align it to the systems, and make sure that folks out in the schools actually know what ambitious instruction is and what it means, and they can actually talk the talk. And then the biggest finding was that they didn't find the coherence around a vision for our academic plan, and around student-centered leadership, and that the work of the cognitive demand out there was being done by students and not teachers. And so really trying to look at what is our vision around our instructional program, what then does instruction and learning actually look like in the classroom, and where is the cognitive demand being placed, and then what are the conditions and the cultures within our learning environments in our classrooms and in our schools as a whole, and what does that look like to be able to be a vehicle for providing instruction, for visionary leadership and student-centered leadership in the classroom. And then the last one is authentic partnership and with our family and communities. As you know, we launched the Family and Community Engagement Office. We have parent coordinators in each of our schools. We're revamping our job description for parent coordinators. We think there's a big opportunity here to really engage our families in a whole new way around instruction. And we've started on some of those pieces, but there's still a lot more to do. So the key areas outline 38 recommendations and 12 main domains you can see here, which is clear vision and goals, instructional excellence, and high-functioning teams. I have found in my practice over the many years that I've been in is you can get so much more done when you do it as a team. And so we're trying to build teams. We already have some school engagement council teams. We have BIT teams who work on behavior instruction teams. We have some teams that are working on support systems around the whole child. And so what we're trying to do is get clear about what are the teams that are working in our schools and how are they using data to drive that instruction, and then how do we assess that, monitor that, and then provide the professional development to our teachers and to our educators and our principals and support staff so that they can actually deliver on what we're calling ambitious instruction and learning. And then is setting the culture of high expectations and accountability, whole child development and safe and positive environment, class size reduction that we're proposing and planning for is a huge part of setting culture. When you have too many kids in a classroom, it's hard for teachers to manage that culture of expectations and not be chasing your tail all day long. And so one of the big key pieces is going to be lowering class size, setting of expectations in the school, and then holding ourselves accountable for looking at the data where we see some discrepancies across our classrooms and our schools and providing that kind of support that we need so that we can ensure a safe and positive environment. And then the fourth lever is authentic partnerships and family community engagement. So you can see those there. And the biggest one is really, and we've been working on this so much this year with our communications office around just communication. We started there. And so we are trying to be really clear with families about everything that goes on in the district and telling the stories that are going on in our schools and making sure that our communication is transparent. A lot of that is involved us going out and doing hearings or going out and doing listening sessions or engaging with our parents and our parent engagement councils, our district advisory council. And so a lot of that is around communication, around engagement. But there's things that I think parents can actually do that will help us with collaboration around the instructional piece as well at home. And so we still have to define what that looks like for that family advocacy and collaboration between the parent, the teacher, and the student. 79% of these actions are complete or in progress. And so just want to make sure that you can tell, like, we have less complete in this area, in our academic area, because we did a lot of planning around our academic agenda. So many of our things are still in progress. Many of our strategies are in progress and continuing to hone that with teacher feedback. And we've really enjoyed being able to listen to teachers, work with our union partners. We contracted with MGT to work with us on, some of the negotiations that we are doing with our union partners around our academic plan to ensure that those professional development days are meaningful and productive for our teachers and our staff. And then our vision for success from the MGT report is that, clear vision, systems, resources are aligned, clarity on the science of reading, which we have now, in implementing a structured literacy program and having high quality materials. So we've established a unified vision, we've begun letters training, we've strengthened instructional guidance for literacy, we've obviously provided new materials, you're very well aware of all of this. We have job-embedded professional development, coaching, and walkthrough cycles that we're doing now. And then we've refocused our principal supervision on instruction and the student experience, and our academic superintendents are doing walkthroughs with them around that particular honing of their skill around how to look for when students are learning and then how to look for the conditions in which children learn, and providing that on-site, real-time coaching for principals. And then, of course, stronger family engagement. So I'm not going to go through these ones because of the hour, but you can see the visionary and student leadership lever and what we're doing there, the ambitions instruction. And so each of these in the next several pages, I won't go through them page by page because it's listing out a lot of what I've already talked about, and you can have that there for you to see, just in more detail what we are doing. So we're open to your questions and happy to answer those.
Thank you for that overview. It's always good to hear about the progress being made. We've heard a lot about these audits, and we certainly don't want to have an audit done and then put it on the shelf. So it's good to know that there's action on it. I do see Director Zombor's hand out of the corner of my eye.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair O'Halloran. And just want to thank the administration for the significant amount of progress made in a very short amount of time on a lot of audits. And just wanted to share, I've noticed a shift in how staff are kind of talking about the audits. I know we have a special ed audit that's ongoing right now with the Council of Great City Schools. And for a long time, the word audit almost seemed like as a punishment or something to be scared of. And I think the more people see that they're actually helping us improve and turn a corner, it's changing the mindset around what does it mean to be audited or go through a review. And instead of people approaching it with fear, they're approaching it with like curiosity and hope. And so I've just noticed that even when in the last couple months. And so I think being really transparent about the progress helps shift that culture and thinking around this is here to help us, not to scare anyone.
Thank
Chair
you.
O'Halloran.
Administration.
Chair O'Halloran, Director Zombor, that's the spirit in which I think we want that to be received. I think that's the spirit in which our Office of OAE would like to see their audits received as well. And so we are really trying to shift the culture around these audits in a way to inspect what we care about, get better. If we make mistakes, okay, better to make a mistake and have tried, and then we fix it and we move on and we grow. And, you know, that's what we expect of our students too. And so hopefully people will see this not as a threat, but as a way to get better. And that's how we're talking about it as a team as well.
Thank you. Director Jackson.
Just a comment specifically towards HR. First off, thank you again for stepping in and cleaning up a lot of mess. You may be humble about it, but I'm going to say it. Thank you. It's needed. It's been long overdue. And before, you know, the teacher, before the, safety, building service helper or special ed, whatever it is, they have to go through your office first. And now we have somebody in there with a team who not only not just having, people on a waiting list who's looking to be a part of our culture and system, but effectively getting back to them, having them streamline the process, do it the correct way. And thank you for that, because it's making our job a lot easier. Of course, we're going to receive, critics in and everywhere we go, but thank you for that, because I've seen you pass it behind closed doors. So I am looking forward to you implementing all these plans and what you're already doing in progress. So thank you.
Thank you. Administration, do you have any response or just soak in the praise?
No, I mean, it's in all these areas. I am so proud of this team. We are like hair on fire. I mean, we feel an urgency, and a real serious urgency to get the district righted so that we can give our students everything that they need. And I am so incredibly proud of this team. We work around the clock every single day, available all day long. It is not unusual for senior leaders to be working 12 hours a day and on weekends. Chief Mims Hall, shows up on Saturdays to do professional development. No extra pay for her. She does that because she knows it's the right thing to do. You know, we show up on Sundays to faith-based initiatives or to cleanups or to neighborhood events or to things that are, you know, Juneau basketball team won. We'll be talking about that. You know, like we show up to cheer people on and we show up to clean stuff up. And so we lean into the hard stuff and celebrate the good stuff. And so I just am super, super proud of this team.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions or comments? I do, and it doesn't need an answer tonight, but slide 3, the top priority, one of them for FY26 was to adopt an updated strategic plan, and we heard about that it's nearing completion, that it's ready to be presented, and so it doesn't have to be decided tonight, but this is another one where I'm like, let's not do the work and then just put it on a shelf. I would like to know what the plan is. We're heading into April, which is kind of a quieter time for committee work within the board, and then we're heading into May, which is too busy with the budget. So I'm not sure what the ideal timeline is, but I would like to, not just because it's on this slide as a priority, but because I think it would be really good for us to establish those priorities that we can speak with our constituents about and say, this is the work that we're doing and this is how we're going to do it. And so just want to plant that seed that I would like to have that sooner than later. FY26 is running out here. Any other? Okay. Well, I believe that we don't actually have to take action on this item. So, with that being said, Madam Secretary, what is the next item?
Madam Chair, I believe that was the last item on this meeting's agenda.
Okay, I'm just going to put in a plug. There is an election on April 7th, and early voting started today, and I'm going to be out of town, so I did early vote today. And MPS students made these beautiful little stickers. So if you go to any one of the polling places, this one came from a student at Elm Creative Arts. It says, I voted early this time. It's a cute little bluebird and a little sun. So if you need any incentive to do your civic duty, please get out there and make your voice heard. So that being said, there's no further business before this committee. We are adjourned.